came all the way to Florida from the Midwest for one reason and one reason only, to scuba dive with the absolute coolest, most curious, and most adorable creatures on this planet. Normally in conversations, this is where I confuse people. Most are just genuinely in shock that I'm not dead. Then they think I'm a real psychopath when I tell them I prefer to hang out with sharks over people. It's not just me though. I have heard from more shark divers than I can count say they feel safer around sharks than humans. I fell in love with them when I was 3, when my parents turned the TV on to a shark documentary, and I was hooked. I watched every single show, movie, and series on sharks I could find, and have dedicated my life to them ever since. One day, my mom drove past a scuba shop while we were on the way to pick up my sister from her friend's house. I saw the shop out of the corner of my eye and begged to go in, because all I ever wanted was to see a shark in the wild while scuba diving. Luckily, she was in a good mood that day and let me sign up. I became certified at 13 and never looked back. After a year diving on reefs, my parents finally said I could go diving with sharks. I was ecstatic. There was an issue though. Sharks don't live in the Midwest, and I was exhausted from having to take a plane every time I wanted to dive. So just this school year, I somehow convinced them that I must go to boarding school so I could dive more often, and left the Missouri suburbs behind to come to Florida. Pretty much immediately after I arrived here, I found a shark diving boat. I now go diving every weekend I can. Some of my favorite moments diving on this boat are when first-time shark divers, who are initially scared to death of jumping in the water with sharks because they're scared of being bitten, come to fall in love with them like I have. One minute they're hyperventilating, and the next, after just seeing the shark, they're smiling and laughing. In a research paper by the Journal Marine Policy by Kieran Apps and more, all found that people cared for sharks more after cage diving with them in South Australia. People are less scared of sharks once they see for themselves how they really act. This is because people fear the unknown. In a 2013 article by scientists Dan Group and Jack Natish, they talk about how through various studies, scientists prove that the less we know in any situation, the more scared we are. Even myself, who dreamed my whole life of the day I would go diving with sharks, was still a bit freaked out the first time I jumped in the water with them. But just a few minutes in the water is enough to change everything. Now I have had an 8-foot nurse shark lay across my lap, and lemon sharks sit right next to me for nearly an hour, just being friendly, without an ounce of fear in my veins. There's nothing greater than swimming right alongside a shark as big as me, with the sun's rays spearing through the water. Everything is silent and at peace. The sharks seem to fly all around me, and every ounce of stress just washes away. The only way I can describe it is like being in a dream, but that doesn't even do the feeling justice. That's the beauty of shark diving. It allows people to get close with these amazing animals and see what they're really like, since most of the media only pushes a bad image of sharks onto society. They fill the news with clickbait titles using words like monster, man-eater, blood, death, and killer. It's no wonder why so many are afraid and against shark diving. They believe it's dangerous and don't understand what sharks are truly like because all they know about them is what they learned online. That's why we need to keep shark diving around so everybody can learn to love these amazing creatures. There's a problem though. Governments such as Mexico and Australia have banned shark diving in certain areas. The more places that ban shark diving, the less people get to have this amazing experience. That means more people will continue to see sharks as bloodthirsty killers instead of their true gentle and curious selves. Just recently, the home of the best white shark diving in the world, Guadalupe Island in Mexico, was forever closed from tourism, and cage diving has been banned in Western Australia since 2012 for fear of public safety, according to a Daily Mail article. They're afraid that shark diving poses a threat to humans by increasing attacks and bringing them closer to shore, but none of that is true. Shark attacks don't seem to increase because of shark diving, but people think it does since during a dive, humans have bait all around them, which many think causes sharks to associate humans with food. This is bogus. See, we humans tend to think of ourselves as the center of the universe, but sharks can honestly care less about us. Cullen Brown, a fish biologist, noted in an article by The Guardian in 2015 that we do know that sharks don't like to eat people, and that, quote, studies show they respond strongly to the smell of seals and fish, but not humans. He continues on to say the trouble with sharks is that they're inquisitive, and when checking out a potential prey item, they typically come up and have a little nibble. While a shark's nibble is still a very big and possibly deadly bite, we're just not tasty enough for them. In fact, quote, in the majority of recorded shark attacks, the shark bites a victim and hangs on for only a few seconds, possibly dragging the victim through the water or under the surface. And then let's go. It is very rare for a shark to make repeated attacks and actually feed on a victim, states Ed Grabanowski in the article How Shark Attacks Work. In fact, there's a very small chance of you being bitten at all. The International Shark Attack File reported only 57 shark attacks, with only 5 of those being fatalities that occurred in 2022 worldwide. When you think about all the people who go to the beach and swim in the ocean every day, 57 is really barely anything. No matter what, though, there are going to be risks. But there's also risks in eating. Zone out for 1 minute and you could be choking. I am also living proof on this stage that being in the water with a shark is not certain death. If anything, it's certain joy. On top of that, they probably don't even know we're humans underwater, since scuba divers look nothing like a human in a full scuba kit. We wear full-length wetsuits, have fins, a mask, and a big tank on our back. Other divers and I also wear gloves, neoprene gloves and hoods. In fact, most ocean animals are scared of scuba divers, since our equipment can be loud underwater and cause lots of bubbles. When I was in the Bahamas diving with tiger sharks, they kept getting spooked by the bubbles every time they came close to me. So I just had to learn to inhale slowly and exhale fast to not scare them away. Stemming from the previous misbelief that sharks will learn to see people as food, many also tend to think this taste for flesh will lead them coming closer to shore to hunt us. This, once again, is absolute bogus. In an article titled, Is Chumming Leading to More Shark Attacks?, Mary Bates, who holds a PhD in psychology and studies animal behaviors, states, quote, sharks involved with properly operating feeding dives do not alter their overall behavior in a way that significantly affects animal health and ecology, which means after we give them bait on shark dives, they still act like normal sharks and don't suddenly get an urge to eat us. I will also clarify that when divers bait the water, we're not attracting sharks from thousands and thousands of miles away to some random spot. We go out to specific spots where sharks are known to congregate and bait the water to bring the sharks already close in the area, even closer to us. We go to the sharks, not vice versa. Also, depending on the shark, some are just naturally close to shore. White sharks eat seals, which live on land, and black-tip sharks crawl mullet, a type of fish, against the shore to trap them and get an easy meal during the mullet run across the coast of Florida. And bull sharks are the only sharks that can live in both salt and fresh water, and are known to give birth in inland rivers and estuaries, as it is safer for their young. So regardless, sharks are going to be near the shore, so we better just get used to them. At the end of the day, I can't make you get in the water with sharks, but I need you to know that it is perfectly safe and you're missing out on an incredible experience. Nobody should ever be scared of swimming or diving with a shark. They are so much more than what meets the eye. All you have to do is jump in the water with them to see that amazing smile behind the teeth you were once so scared of. The whole world has to know it's safe. Otherwise, we will lose shark diving forever, and we will never see a shark's amazing smile again. Thank you.